In today's Art Watch, we feature the Asian Youth Orchestra. It is made up of this year's finest young musicians from throughout the Asian region. It is celebrating its 15th anniversary this year and has come to Tokyo to play this week. Yuko Nomura reports on what the orchestra has achieved in the 15 years.
In this year's Asian Youth Orchestra, there are 107 members who passed the audition from 12 countries. They toured such cities as Shanghai, Bangkok, Singapore, Kuala Lumpur, and Manila before coming to Japan.
1, 2.
Founder and artistic director of the orchestra is Mr. Richard Pontzious, a 60-year-old American. For 6 weeks, he rehearsed and toured with this year's young orchestra, 3 weeks in a rehearsal camp in Hong Kong, and the next 3 weeks touring Asia. After teaching for nearly 20 years in Asia, including Japan, Taiwan, and South Korea, he came up with the idea of founding this orchestra. What made you establish the Asian Youth Orchestra?
Well, having lived in Asia for quite a number of years and having heard the question, Mr. Pontzious, how can I go abroad to study so many times, I thought, what a ridiculous thing my life is if I spend all my life in Asia encouraging Asian musicians, and those same Asian musicians then go abroad to study and don't come back to their own countries. So the idea of the Asian Youth Orchestra was to create a showcase for Asian musicians so they would see how well they do, see how well they are being taught in their own countries. They could compare themselves with the musicians from other Asian countries, and to show audiences.
In its 15 years, the orchestra has produced more than 1,000 alumni. But the Asian music scene surrounding them has changed greatly, partly due to the economic changes in Asia.
Well, there are a lot more Asian musicians playing in key chairs in Asian orchestras. Not only 15 years, but I first came to Japan in 1967 and 68, and there were a lot of foreign musicians playing in the Japanese orchestras. That has changed over the years. The one sad thing about music, although there are more musicians than ever before, the number of performances seems to be on the decline.
But in this adverse environment, roughly 90% of the orchestra's alumni stay in Asia. Among them are players who've decided to commit themselves to nurturing the classical music in their own countries. Lertkiat first joined the orchestra in 1996. He's now teaching in high school in Thailand and has also held a trumpet festival in his country. He's aiming to be a full-time professional trumpet player in Thailand, a country which doesn't have much demand for classical music.
I really want to do to stay in my country, not because I can't go another country, but it's because Mr. Pontzious, of course he's American, and he stayed in Asia too long, so long, I mean, and then he helped so many Asian students. So I think if it will be more useful for me if I stay in my country and help all my students to grow up and use me as a idea to grow up even better than me.
Those who are on the ball say, well, how does this old man do this? And why does he do it? Okay, if he's doing it, maybe I could do the same thing in my own country. Yes, he's trying to do this on a broad scope, but in Thailand or in Malaysia or in Singapore and Hong Kong, conditions are different. So I have to I'd like to do the same thing, but with my own national characteristics. And that inspires local musicians. And those local musicians then get better and better and come to us, and the process continues over the years.
Asian Youth Orchestra is not only a place to learn about music, it's also a place to get to know each other and learn about each other's cultures and traditions.
This year, I think everybody in Japan and China knows that at a soccer match, the mainland Chinese were booing the Japanese soccer team. Here, in the Asian Youth Orchestra, the Japanese players and the Chinese players and the Korean players and the Singapore players are all sitting side by side. That's very impressive.
This day is the last day of their 6 long weeks of their rehearsal camp and tour.
Let's go. Let's go. You enjoy? Okay.
They're all excited about their final concert. Mr. Pontzious says the unity the orchestra has nurtured throughout the 6 weeks together is reflected beautifully in their performance. And the 15th year of the Asian Youth Orchestra has come to an end. The next day, they went back to their home countries. They will never play together with the same members again.
We work together as a colleagues and we live together as a friends, and we share almost everything. We share food, we live together, we make mistakes together, we have fun, and we did a good job together too.
But I'm all wet, so I'm sorry. Are you okay?
Yes.
Okay, just a little emotional. Thanks a lot for your... Well, I think this was a very exciting evening. I think everybody's very, very happy. The orchestra members are very happy. It's sad to be leaving, but very happy.
Mr. Pontzious is already thinking of ways to play for the 60th anniversary of the United Nations and for the 2008 Beijing Olympics. His passion for the Asian Youth Orchestra is never ending. This is Yuko Nomura, NHK World.